Alright folks, today we're looking at ways to mount this. This is the control head for the ID-5100 by Icom in the truck. Took a couple different approaches here. One of them is this Lido Cup Mount holder, which we're going to take a good close look at. And the other one kind of surprised me a little bit. So let's check it out today on K5ATA Ham Radio. Alright guys, as we get started, if y'all would, hit that like button down below, hit subscribe, and hit that bell. That lets you know when we publish new content. Also, all of the stuff that you see, or most of the stuff that you see in the shack and the stuff that we have in our school radio club, I try to put links to those down in our Amazon affiliate link store below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help our school club a little bit. We get a little percentage of that. Also, there's a Patreon link below. I use that Patreon link or that Patreon income to help support my school ham radio club, and so if you feel so inclined, we would love to have you support us. So let's get this show on the road. Alright, so this is the Lido Mount. As some of you know, I've been kind of fishing around for a decent way to mount the Icom ID-5100 in the new truck, and you know, I had several recommendations, and honestly I may go through a few mounts before I find one that I truly just love and keep in here. Some people suggested the Ram mount and whatnot, but I got this guy on sale for 20 bucks, and so I figured, you know what, for 20 bucks, let's give this thing a go. Came out of Dana Point, California, and I got it, let's see, I ordered it on Monday afternoon maybe, and I had it in my mailbox today, and today's Friday, so shipping time is not bad at all. Just to take a look as to what it has here, in fact I'll show you the top when they get it stuck in the cup holder. It's a cup holder mount, and these things right here actually expand the cup holder out or retract it back in to make it fit down in the cup holder. So as you can see, I've got 4 cup holders in here, 3 with an empty water bottle, and the way this works is I only have 2 because my honey bunch has those 2, and you know, she has made it clear thou shalt not infringe upon my cup holders, so it's going to be one of these 2 on my side here. If I stick it here, I'm already a little bit concerned that this, you can see how close that dude's coming, and it does have a little bit of a flex post here that you can adjust with it, but I'm not sure I'm going to get that clear, which means it's going to go in this front cup holder. So that's not bad. The only thing it's really blocking is my access to my trailer brake, which, just to be real honest with you, I don't really have to, once I get set up and going, it's not like I have to use it a whole bunch. It will kind of sort of get in the way of my upfitter switches, but nothing's wired to those yet anyway. That's where I'm going to wire my fire lights up to and whatnot. But this is where it's going to go. So the way this works is, obviously when you stick it in there, your first instinct is going to be, oh crap, it's too loose. But you know, there were no instructions in the box. It was just this dude in a box, in a plastic bag. When you look closely, it's got little arrows and it says release. Okay, so the trick here is you turn this nut, I guess for lack of a better word, until it gets nice and tight in there. And that's pretty firm. Okay, so now that that's in there, we can adjust this mount. I'm going to set the camera down to do this part because, well, it's just hard to do that one-handed. So what I did, let me see if I can get to where you can see that. Kind of gave it a little bit of a curve over. My goal, in fact, let me get another empty water bottle. Spend all day on a football field, you need to drink plenty of water. And I think I can get most drinks in and out of that, even with the 5100, which is right here, in there. So next thing is these little jaws of life here. Now I call them the jaws of life because they're going to hold the head unit here, and well, without your head you have no life. So, you know, when you get them, you're going to feel the urge to try to pry them out and whatnot. And then when you start just kind of playing around with stuff, you realize this little button here, every push expands those jaws out. And just so y'all have reference, that's pretty stinking wide. That's, well, water bottle reference. That's almost to the neck of the bottle. But more importantly, ID-5100 reference. Plenty of space in there. In fact, too much space. So what you do is you just kind of squeeze them back together, and you're going to feel them kind of click into place, because they have those little in fact, I'm going to undo those and let you see those. Hang tight. Get to my little button post here. Okay, when these are expanded out, you'll see it actually has little ratcheted fittings there, and that's what that's going to go to. That's going to control it from clipping back in. So when this goes, there's the repeater identifying. So when it goes in, like I said, you just set it in there and just kind of push it down until you get that click, and those little foam pads right here hold that in pretty well. Obviously I've not driven with it yet, so we're going to go drive it with the road here in a minute, see how it does. It, you know, it wobbles a little bit, but you expect it to. It doesn't, I'm not sure I like you've only got so many degrees of rotation. Like, it has to either be here, or it has to be here, or it has to be here. I guess I could flip it over and see if I got a better angle at it there. Actually, I think I like that angle better, so I'm going to flip this head unit over and see if I like the look of that better. Hang on. Alright, that seemed to work, but let me check my oof. That's not going to work after all. I'm going to have to, I guess, we'll just have to see how that works out with water bottles and whatnot. I'm not sure that that's the best plan in the world. We'll just have to play with it and see. It's not bad. Let me see if I can slide that head unit over a little more. Alright, so here we go. I have a dirt gravel driveway, 600 and some odd feet, 634 I think it is. So not the smoothest ride in the world coming out, and that's kind of what I want to see, is how well it's gonna do. And I'm actually gonna go, I back up to some Corps of Engineers land here, and the road back there is definitely not pretty, and so we're gonna go that way. I never go up this side, and see how this does. So I'll go ahead and apologize now if it slips out of the camera shot. I'm not really looking at where the camera is shooting. I'm just kind of holding it because, well, I'm driving, and that wouldn't seem to work out well to pay attention to the camera shot, like not to this truck I'm about to pass right here. That would not be good. So far though, it doesn't look like it's bouncing around a whole bunch. I mean, you expect a little bit, but not too bad. Child unit just tried to call me, so she got the notification that father unit left home. Ooh, that was a good bump, and it didn't seem to knock it loose or anything like that. I'm actually going to go all the way back into the Corps land, because the Corps land is, well, it's gravel, deep gravel roads and whatnot. And I've not been back there in a while anyway, so it's kind of cool to take a look back there. Plus, see how this thing stays mounted up, see if it slips out or anything. One thing I can't stand with radios that have detachable head units or faces and stuff like that, a lot of times, and like I said, this is an aftermarket a lot of times the mounts are less than stellar. They tend to, you know, oh yeah, here we go, Corland baby. They, you know, sometimes pop out. In fact, like, you know, Jason Ham Radio 2.0 is just, now granted it was mounted on the radio, but that new FTM 300D or whatever that new Yaesu radio is, you know, when he mounted the faceplate onto the radio itself, that sucker fell off with no effort whatsoever. So but this is not the actual Icom mount. This is just the Lido mount. And you can see this is back here a little bit. If you listen closely, you might can hear the banjos. Love it back here though, man. You can come back here and hike around back here for a hot minute and still be okay. Have a great time. It backs up to Sardis Lake. I would caution you against hiking back through here in the wintertime, because somebody might think that you are Bambi and try to make you their jerky, which would not be the best thing in the world. Well, it looks like they've lost a tree. Those windstorms. Let me see if I can squeeze on through here. Alright. And so far, so good. Yeah, my thinking is if it can hold up bouncing around on old Corps of Engineer gravel roads, then it should be perfectly fine on a highway, obviously. I mean, if you're driving on a highway that's this rough, you need to think about how you vote. Yeah, this is, you know, no ridiculous amount of play or anything like that. I think we can call this a success. I would be curious to see how the ram mount works. It's, from what I understand, it's got a ball joint on top in it. Like, you get this clamp, and you can clamp different like mounts to it, or you can 3D print one. I think it was Kyle Alpha 0Z printed a mount to go on a ram mount, or like an adapter to go on a ram mount for, I think it was from Mike K at MRD, and he got it mounted up in the truck and whatnot. So I would be curious to try one of those out to see what, you know. That was by far one of the biggest things people said. Go with the ram mount. Go with the ram mount. And, you know, one guy, I forget who it was, Ethan, one of the guys on Ham Radio Crash Courses Discord, said, hey, check out Lido mounts. And I figured for half the price, that's where we'll start. And in fact, if you look carefully, I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, right through there is the lake. It's Sardis Lake. It's also a geocache right down in there if you're into geocaching. That sucker's a booger to find. Alright, and another option is Icom ships this with the little metal backing plate. And what this actually is, if you'll hold that for me on the drive. What this actually is this is just one of those little cell phone holders that you can buy for a few bucks on Amazon or whatever. I'll find it and put a link down below. But it mounts onto that metal right there, and that dude fits pretty well. And that way you don't have if you don't want the cup holder kind of rattling around, this is another option. You can mount several different radios this way. You know, you could easily have that here, maybe have the head unit for your HF radio over here. That way you still have all your cup holders down here, and both of your radio head units are there. You do have to get a little bit more creative on your cable routing, because now I've got this cable routing up past my four-wheel drive stuff and whatnot. But that's not too big of a deal. I mean, you can easily, the cable's plenty long, you can route it all the way around the dash. I just threw that up there just to see if it would work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it up there while we drive home, and we're just going to see if it stays stable or if I catch it in my kneecap. bumps, nothing major, you know, coming on and off the little bridges and whatnot. But so far, this seems to be like a pretty good option. I like that this sits up higher. I don't have to look down at where it is in the cup holder. The cup holder works okay, but I'm constantly having to look down at it. I don't have to take my eyes off the road necessarily to glance at it. It's not shaking around or anything, and I get those cup holders back down there. I'm gonna take this turn up here, and it can be a little bouncy. That's gonna be the test. We'll see if it falls from the sky here. There's a little bump, and it stayed. It gets a little bumpy, and then there's a turnoff I take up here that it's got some pretty good bumps. So, and the way I figure, if it makes through those, I mean, obviously, if you're going to put this in a four-wheel drive vehicle like some of those overland vehicles and stuff we're going to take a look at, that may not be the option for you. But if you're driving around town, you're not going to go off-roading and, you know, whatnot. This is an easy option, and it's, you know, this little mount thing's only a few bucks. It's not much, and you can stack them up. You can have several of them. That's actually the mount that I was using from my phone. I had it up there, and that's, you know, when I'd have navigation on or something, that's how I had it. I was like, I wonder if this would fit here, and it seems to fit like a champ. So, alright, so here we are coming up on bumpy spot. It's transitioning from the highway to a little side road here, and it seemed to do the job okay. So I think I'm going to leave this radio mounted right like that.
Alright folks, so there's two options for mounting not just the control head for the ID-5100, but pretty much any control head. The Lido Mount did a good job. I didn't really love that it took up so much space down there in the cup holder area. I understand they left this thing short so that it's not so wobbly, but by it staying so short, it also made it so it's not nearly as adjustable. I do like that, you know, these things, see if I can get there. You can see those. You know, you turn these, and these little, I don't know what to call those little dudes, little grippers or whatever, they come in and out to grip inside the cup holder, so it'll fit probably any cup holder you can imagine in your vehicle. But for now, I'm going to end up leaving it on that little cell phone mount. I'm probably saying the name of it wrong. It's a Scosche brand mount. I'll put a link to that down below, and also I'll see if I can't find a link and put the link to that down below as well. So, but that's that. There's a couple options. I'm still going to look at a couple more. I do really like the way it's mounted. Not to mention that my wife said, hey, you know, you've got room for 3 radios up there if you do that. And I'm like, store. But, you know, so far, I'm sticking with the little Scosche mount. If you've got the space for it, or, you know, you're not limited on your cup holders, if you don't have a thou shalt not infringe upon my cup holders kind of policy, then that one may be an option for you as well. But I appreciate y'all sticking around. Y'all take care, and we hope to see you on the air. 7-3.